welcome to another episode. Today we have a special guest, Carlos. How are you?
Good. How you doing?
Good, man. So, tell us, what do you do? What do you do for work?
I work at a credit union. Been in the business for about 15 years, and got started back in the day as a part-time teller. Recently, I became a senior loan officer / MLO, mortgage loan officer. And things are looking up. Market's good. Economy's good. So should be a pretty good experience going forward.
Yeah, that's a nice little summary in a nutshell, huh?
Yeah, definitely.
Very cool. So what made you get into banking? Like someone tell you, or like you saw the people dressed up in a nice suit and you're like, man, I want to be a banker one of these days?
I'm going to say a little bit of both.
Okay.
All right, because there's a what's called a prestige with this job. With any job with a uniform, I would say. Like a police officer, a fireman, a banker, a lawyer, you're going to dress it up. And there's a sort of procedure goes along with that. And the other side of it is I was going to school for business at the time. I was at a JC level, and I was going to school for business. And a buddy of mine at the time, we used to work at a pizza place, and he was already working at a bank at the time.
Part-time?
And I think he was working full-time at a bank. But he was working like at a processing center, not a branch.
Yes.
Working at a processing center. And he would tell me to apply, but I would never apply because I never had no experience. So it's like, why would they hire me?
Right.
I don't know what I'm doing. I'm going to school, but that's about it, you know? And, but no, that friend at the time helped me out, got a resume ready and worded it in a way where it's towards banking. And yeah, sure enough, uploaded it to Monster, I think at the time. It's about 05, I think. And yeah, they called me. And ever since then, I've been in the credit union world.
Okay. And is there like some type of experience that you needed beforehand to get into banking, or was it just like an entry position?
You know, at the time, I did ask that during the interview because I went in blind and I had no experience. So I didn't want to go to the interview because I was scared out of my mind. What am I going to talk about? I'm working at a pizza place, going to school, and you're going to ask me about banking? I mean, all I know is how to not bounce my check.
Yes.
That's all I know. That don't do that because they're going to charge you. That's all I knew back then, right? And then this is probably not a good story or a funny story, but back then when they called me for the interview, they said they want me to come in for the interview. So I was like, the first thing out of my mind was, I don't have any experience. Like I was trying to unsell my interview, you know, but the person at the time said, oh, don't worry, we'll train you. We see here you're going to school for business. That's probably fits in here later for career growth. So when can I come in? And yeah, they called me. I think it was a Thursday. They called me to go in there, and yeah, I mean, I think all they were looking for was for entry level was a customer service, just your personality. I think because everything else they could train. Yep. Personality is hard to train. I mean, you are who you are, you know. So as long as you're like a friendly person, outgoing, talkative, you know, they could work with everything else. They could show you the systems and so forth. But yeah.
So you've been in banking for 15 years, in the credit union world specifically though, right?
Yes.
Okay. So explain to me roughly what your day looks like when you clock in. What kind of person is actually cut out for this type of job?
I mean, I would say it's a broad spectrum. I've come into contact with many different types of personalities. But I would say personable people will do well in this because it's not just the service that's involved now, where every credit union is big on service. There's also a sales aspect to it. So you have to be able to explain our products and services in a confident way where it makes sense to members to get it or to want to use it. Yeah. Right. Like the apps, the e-statements, or getting direct deposit with us. Because everybody has a choice to bank anywhere. You could go bank anywhere. So what's going to separate you is your service now. I mean, the rates is not much difference. You know, so it would be a person that is personable and has, I guess, the drive to get the goals done.
Yeah, I've known you for a couple years now, and you just seem to have this natural ability to sell. Was that something that is God given to you, or is this gained over years of experience?
That's had to be both, I think. Okay. That's got to be both because back to the part where you can't train personality. It's just part of you. Okay. This is probably a funny story. Like I started as a part-time teller, and the branch manager at the time pulled me from the teller line and he told me, "Hey, Los, you're doing pretty good on the teller line. You know, you're a pretty outgoing kid. So let's see if we could tweak a little bit for the business. What do you think we show you how to sell the HELOC, the home equity line of credit?" Mm-hmm. And we had a good rapport back then. And I was like, yeah, tell me how it works and I'll see what I could do.
Yes.
So he sat me down with the assistant branch manager at the time. And he started explaining to me the features and managing the benefits of the HELOC, right? And then at the end of that, the way they took the fear away from me, like the fear of failure, which nobody wants to sell because they might be afraid of the rejection of the no. That's the first thing you got to clear from someone in sales. Get over the fear of rejection. And all they told me was, you know what, don't worry about the no's. We're not writing those down. You know, we just care about the yeses. So just offer it. If you get one, fine. If you don't, well, then you don't. You know, you're still going to get your paycheck at the end of the week. So that great. The first person I tried to sell it to, I got it.
What?
I got the app out. I explained to it where they had to like fill it out, sign it, and so forth, right? And the lady was right in front of me doing it. I was all excited. So she hands it back to me, and I told her, yeah, I'm going to give it to one of my loan officers, and they'll call you. She left. I walked over there, and I got my first one. They opened it up. It had a signature. It had today's date. It had an address. It had an amount they wanted, but it didn't have an account number. It didn't have a printed name. It had nothing we could work with. Yeah. You know, so I was like, oh man, it wasn't a fail because we couldn't do anything with that application. We had to wait to see if the member would come back in next week or something to try to talk to her again. And but instead of them telling me, oh dude, that's like reprimanding me for not doing a good job, they said, don't worry about it. That's your first one. It's a learning process. Just go on to the next one. And after that, I'm thinking about a few months later, I think I held the record for getting 30 HELOC apps by a part-time teller. Now, that's never been broken in that credit union. And all because just being consistent, being proactive, just offering it. I wasn't afraid of the no.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't going to hurt me. It wasn't going to take anything from me.
Right.
So I would just offer them, and it just came. And that's the part of where with training and practice it comes. But the other part is my family, my dad's side, they're all big on business. They all have their own businesses. And whenever I would go with them to Mexico, I could hear them spit game and haggle. Yes. And when they're buying something, I mean, I just hear the way they do it, how they sound, how they're doing it. And there's a way to do it without sounding condescending to people. Because you come off rude if you're trying to like make a deal with someone and you're trying to get them to pay for something that they don't want to pay.
Yeah.
It's like some people come off as a giving like an order. No, you have to pay this. No, well, no one has to pay anything.
All right.
You choose to pay whatever you want to pay. If you don't want it, then you just don't buy it.
Yes.
You know, but there's ways to do it, to explain. Like in banking, you got to explain costs and disclose rates and so forth. And you got to explain to people, this is an opportunity cost. This is going to cost you this, but you're going to get this, you know? So I would say both. It's probably God-given and it's experience.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, at least you had a good kind of first experience besides not having the account number.
Yeah. Yeah.
But had your managers like poured into you and encouraged you to keep going, that's probably why you were able to succeed in this field.
Oh, definitely. Because it's all about management is big on your growth. Mm-hmm. Well, if you have managers that are big on your growth, it does tend to encourage you to produce, right? But if you're only let's say if you have the bad luck of getting a manager that just finds something you did wrong and never gives you any like accolades or commendations for something you did right, I don't know anyone who would get motivated by that. You know, so it's just, but I've been lucky where I've been in places that actually encourage growth for production. Yeah.
So we've pretty much been in the credit union world, right? In your field.
Yes.
Is there a difference between the credit union, say, sales goals versus like the banking sales goals?
From what I hear, like recently in the banking world, they're doing away with their goals also. Because they've noticed that all their like cutthroat, heavy goals have caused a lot of lawsuits for them, have caused a lot of negative light for them, and have caused a lot of people. I mean, I can't tell you how many countless times people walk in and they say, I want to open an account. And my next question is, do you bank with anybody else right now? And the first thing they say is Chase, B of A, Wells Fargo, big banks. And as I open the account, they'll start venting on their experiences. And they'll come right back at me and say, you know, well, what's the difference? Like, what is it between you and the bank? Like, why, what's the main difference? And the first thing I say is, well, first thing, look at our line back there. it's not out the door.
Mm-hmm.
It's not out the door. So first thing is service. You're going to be able to walk in and be in and out quick. If you want to serve, I'll explain to you what we have, which is very comparable to what they offer, but I'm not going to try to hard sell you on a product you don't even need.
Right.
Because it's not the goal isn't directly related to my employment. It's directly related to my service is what it is in the credit union world. Whereas the banking world, it used, from what I hear, used to be very cutthroat. Now they're easing up on it now. That's part of the service.
What is the thing you always tell me about that your economic teacher told you when you were younger? Focus on the...
Oh, he would say your product and your service. That was a business teacher at the JC level. Focus on your product and your service, and the success will come on its own. But if you just worry about the success and start cutting everything out, then you're doomed to fail.
Yeah.
Because you're not worried about what the market's asking for, what your customers need, what your product should be, and you're doomed to fail at that point.
Yeah, and I do feel like credit unions as a whole generally focus on their service.
Yeah.
And then the members will come, they're going to refer their friends and their family.
Definitely.
And that's a lot of what we see in the credit union world.
Definitely.
Very cool. So tell me, let's go back, how does your day look? You clock in and what happens?
Well, in general or right now?
In general.
In general. Okay. Well, in general, if you're already established, you get to your branch, you clock in, and if you're a loan officer, what you want to do, or what I do, is I jump into my pipeline. Pipeline is like loans you have that are pending, that are assigned to you, that you're responsible for either finalizing or finding out if they're canceled or not. Gotcha. Right. So you get in there and you see which ones you're going to do a callback on to follow up and see what they need, whether they need verification of income, employment, if they found a car, because sometimes people get an approval, but they haven't found a car yet.
Just shopping.
Yeah, they're shopping around for a car, so it could take them a week or a month, and you just got to make sure you touch base with them, let them know that you're still thinking about finalizing their loan request. Because what happens if you don't follow up, some members either think you don't care, it's not important, and they'll just go finance with the dealer or finance somewhere else.
Yeah.
But if you stay proactive and you follow up with them, they know you're working with them, make the process easy for them. Sometimes they could even email you everything, and you just mail the check out to the dealer, and that's even better. Because then they know, they tell their coworkers, their friends, oh, my guy at the credit union, he could do everything, or you don't even have to go there.
Right.
He could do everything over email. So, it's very simple. After that, you'd probably take care of the lobby traffic, which people walk in, open accounts, or apply for new loans, stuff like that, disputes, account maintenance. Towards the end of the day, we usually have a lull between lunch and 3 p.m. because everyone's at work or at school or whatnot. But after 3 p.m., then everyone got out of work, got out of school, and here's our end of the day traffic.
The bus load comes in.
Yeah, definitely. And what that helps too, because your side of that is that your time goes by quick.
Yeah.
Your time goes by quick, and if you got a lot of things done, then you get a sense of accomplishment for the day. As opposed to, I've heard people say, I just want to sit somewhere and not do nothing all day. I'm not that type of person.
No.
I've had that opportunity before, and it's not good. Mm-hmm. You're looking at the clock. You're going crazy. You're probably clicking on stuff on eBay you shouldn't buy anyway.
Right.
But I'm not that type of person, but, to each their own. If you want that type of job, but it's good when you do a lot and you get something done and you're ready for the next day.
Okay. Sounds pretty good. I guess the question looming that everybody probably would like to know is what could they expect to get paid as someone who's, let's say, a teller, and because that's generally what you have to step into when you jump into the credit union world, and versus say a representative who actually does loans like yourself right now. Got it.
So you're asking what a part-time initial teller, no experience, would get paid normally?
Yes.
I've seen $2 of a minimum wage for starting pay. I've seen anywhere up to 16, 17 for starting pay. It just depends. But I think credit unions, for the most part, offer a little more than commercial banks for a beginning part-time teller. And then, once you get experience, or if you have productive experience, so let's not say just time experience, but time and verifiable production experience,
yes,
where you're a good cross-seller, you're able to get people to apply for loans, stuff like that, then obviously I would say your equity goes up, and the more people, more viable to offer you more money.
Okay.
To either work for them or go work for somebody else.
Okay. Yeah. So as a representative who does loans now with, say, maybe 5 years of experience, what can someone expect to get paid on an estimate? I know it differs from credit union to banks. But in general, what do you think that number would be?
In general, just base pay. We're not talking about incentives, right?
Right, no incentives.
All right, so the base pay, I'm going to say you want to look at anywhere between 5 years experience and you have verifiable production experience. I would say 35 to 50 is what you're looking for.
Okay.
In there.
30.
Yeah, it just depends on where you go.
Okay.
It's some people try to lowball, some people are willing to pay, and then it just becomes what is your level of experience on standing by your gun when you're asking for what you're worth. Because
Gotcha.
always know what you're worth. And don't ever take a back step, Always know what you're worth and go after it.
Very, very cool. What about like a dress code or something like that? I noticed that one of the places you work for, they let you wear Vans. But in general, do you have to dress up sharp or do they give you like a uniform to wear?
Oh, that's the cool thing about it. They give you the option. Like
Okay.
the place you're talking about, they give you the option of dressing up, or if you would wear the company logo polo, then you could wear during the week, you could wear the dressy pants, slacks, and you could wear the company Vans. They were made out to the color scheme of the logo, and they're very cool, And so they give you the option. Fridays, Saturdays are just casual, nice jeans, You could wear the Vans or your tennis shoes, as long as they're clean, and some J's. Always work,
Yeah.
So it just depends. But yeah, they give you the option, and I remember in the beginning, I would always take the GQ option, but after a while, they started telling me, "Oh, you can use a polo if you want." I was like, "Man, that's lower maintenance." So I look at it that way, and it's consistent. The polos, different color polos you would get, and but they give you the different options to dress it up or not.
Yeah, I did enjoy being able to dress up, but also having that option of not having to think what I was gonna wear. I could just throw on the polo.
Yeah,
Just made it so much convenient.
definitely.
What are things that you love about your job? Like, is there anything in this credit union world that you're like, man, I feel rewarded for doing this?
Yeah, I love the incentives and the paycheck. Definitely.
Money.
Definitely. I mean, come on, who doesn't like being able to say, I want to buy that car?
Yeah.
I want to buy that house. I want to take a vacation, and then the holidays, we all get paid holidays, federal holidays, and then you get a floating holiday. Benefits are good. I mean, the place I'm at right now does PPO.
Ooh.
So that's the great benefits. So it's good, a good variety of coverage across the board. And then the people, I mean, your colleagues you work with, for the most part, it's not like you sit there at your desk all day. I mean, there's people that know me wherever I've worked, never a dull moment.
Yeah.
I walk around, I'm very social, I'll joke, and then when I leave, they're like, "Oh man, I'm bored. You're in here anymore. Who's gonna tell me all this stuff during the day?"
Yeah.
But I would say, yeah, it's a combination of a lot of things. Yeah.
So do you feel you have job security in your field?
I do. Well, I mean, this coming from someone that worked through the economic crisis of '08,
Yes.
where all banks were laying off, closing down branches, and it was horrible. It was touch and go. But right now, I believe I do. I mean, obviously, the economy is on an upturn. I mean, it's pretty strong. And with my level of experience, I mean, I could talk about these products forwards, backwards, upside down. I mean, there's nothing very new aside from your processing system, maybe, or a different processing system if you go to a different credit union, rather. But for myself right now, in the current situation I'm in and the level of experience, I would say I do have pretty solid job security.
Okay. One question that I always see like on the internet is they'll ask people who are in the banking field, like, what do you think about the lack of financial education in the school system?
Oh, it's horrible.
Yeah.
It is horrible. I mean, I've seen it day in, day out. Just a personal experience. A kid walks in, sits in front of you, and he's just has no idea. He thinks his money going in is totally separate from his debit card,
Oh, no.
from his check. He doesn't think like his money that he puts in is coming from those checks. He thinks that that's totally separate entity, and the money coming from those checks is who knows where it is, And I've heard some people come in and they start applying for a loan, asking for questions about a loan. And after they ask a question, they'll apologize and they'll say something like, "Oh, I'm sorry, it's a stupid question, but you know what? I don't know this," or whatever. My response to that is, dude, I used to be there. I used to be there. I didn't know this. I could do this now because I've been doing this for years, but I was there. I didn't know how this stuff worked. trial and error, and here we are. Whatever you need, it's not a stupid question.
Yeah.
It's a new question to you.
Right. Right.
It's a new question. Whatever you need to ask. So it's they should have some type of financial like coaching classes before kids get out of high school. They should have that.
Yeah, some type of elective that they can take to gain some just basic knowledge.
Yeah, either they do that or they do it with money. And if you don't need money, then you don't need to be coached on this, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you don't. So do it with money or teach them.
Right.
But do something.
One of my last questions. What are things that someone needs to be aware of before entering this field? Like, what would have better prepared you for everything that the credit union world threw at you?
Well, I mean, this is a part of it, but I think this is part of every type of business or job you ever worked at. You need to be good at your job and have good people skills. Because what happens is anywhere you work, it's not just that people know you're doing a good job, but people also have to like you.
Yeah.
It goes both ways. I mean, every company's going to boast about equal opportunity and we're able to take care of everybody fairly, but you don't always see it. So I would say always try to be on people's good side. Like, don't try to, what do they say, burn bridges or be conflictive, because that kind of stuff, even though you're a great producer, and I've seen it, you're great, you do great at your job, but just if you lack those personal skills, you're not really personable with your coworkers or your bosses or stuff like that. That could hinder any type of growth opportunity or promotions, rather. So I would say work on both. Work on both your job knowledge and your interpersonal skills with your colleagues and bosses.
Anything you want to add? Anything we didn't cover that you're like, you know what? They should know this about the credit union world.
Let's see. I would say it's a lot easier to work in than a bank a bank is. I mean, here they're more about service than sell. We do have goals, but they're not extravagant goals. Where I'm at right now is a little different than where I was before. And people were telling me that these goals were going to be harder where I'm at right now. I'm looking at them, I'm like, but that's for the branch. I thought that was for me. No, that's for the branch. And I'm like,
you're like, I got this.
Then how is this harder? And then I ask them, so what am I supposed to do? Like where's my goal for the new branch? Because I'm going to be at a new branch. And they go, we don't have goals yet because there's no foot traffic. So we haven't done the base. And I'm like, so what am I going to do all day? Do reports? Like, we'll see what we can do, but let's get the branch open first and then we'll work on that. I'm like, okay. But that just comes with, I guess, experience, where I'm already used to doing a lot of other things, and they're probably having me on a lull right now until we get busy.
Plus,
is what it is.
You're at a place like we mentioned, like selling almost comes naturally to you. So that's kind of why it doesn't affect you. You're like expecting some type of a sales goal.
Definitely. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So they should be aware that there is selling still involved in the credit union world. Maybe it's just not as aggressive as, say, the banking.
Yes, definitely.
And then I think we talked about earlier that even banking, the banking world is starting to realize their pain in like pushing sales goals on all of their employees. And
definitely.
I mean, we see it in the media and all the lawsuits that came out recently.
Also, recently I found out about the ATMs that you just like the digital teller that they pulled them all because people weren't using them.
Yeah,
people didn't like them
because it's impersonal.
Yeah, exactly. People want the exchange is what it is.
Yeah,
how many times people come into the branch where you have those regulars that they come for the same transaction over and over, but they just come to talk to you about their day, but they use the transaction as an excuse, right? Because they want the experience. They don't just want the account. Which is fine. I mean, not everybody does that, but that's fine, But yeah, so that's what it is. It's the experience you're offering. Yeah. I know I had a boss a while ago. She said it best. She said, whenever you're here, you're on stage. You're performing for the members. So that's how you got to look at it.
Yeah.
And she that's the advice I walked away from her. Also, her inch by inch is a cinch. Yard by yard is hard. That has helped me the last 5 years that I haven't worked with her so much, where I would usually drown myself out of something because I want to do it the same day.
Yeah.
But no, then I would just chop it up in a few different steps and it'd still get done. Whereas before, I'd just give it up because it was too hard because it wouldn't come out in one day.
Right.
Right? But inch by inch is a cinch. Definitely.
And yard by yard.
It is hard.
That's right. All right. Very cool. I think that was all we had. Thank you for tuning in. All right. Good.